What's going on YouTube? It's Not a Gamer 101 here, and welcome to a tutorial slash showcase of all boss armors that you can find. I am purely going through the guide that shows these, so if I somehow don't see one, that is because it was not in the guide. But these armors are not so difficult to actually find. You actually get them by merchants after beating the boss, or at least most of them. So in this tutorial, I will show you how to get to these merchants. That way we can purchase them after beating them, and then at the end I will show you the showcase of all these armors. For the weapons of the armors, they are located at Trade and Weaponsmith Artifacts. So if you need to know how to get to them, I will show them in the description below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and begin searching for these merchants. First we have in Majula, Moglin the Armorer. He will allow you to purchase the Smelter Demon armor, Looking Glass Knight, Lost Center, Velstadt, Throne Defender, and Throne Watcher. Also, please excuse me if I pronounced any of these wrong.
Are you sure? Well.
Next we have Titty Grin, who is located after the Chariot boss fight in Huntsman's Copse. This is the guy who allows you to join the Brotherhood of Blood Covenant. Well, we need to join his covenant, and he will allow us to get two armors. Technically, they don't really look like exactly like the armor of a boss or something, but they are considered that boss armor. We get the Executioner and Bone armor from the Skeleton Lords and the Chariot boss. Next one is a little bit different, is the Iron Keep Merchant, and he sells you the Dragon Rider armor. But you have to defeat both Dragon Rider boss fights, the one that's in Drang Lake Castle and the one in Hades Tower of Flame, in New Game Plus to get this armor. It's not regular. I'm actually personally in New Game Plus, so that's how I can buy it. But that is how you get the Dragon Rider armor. Honestly, one of my favorites. Next is probably the most annoying one. It is the Ruined Sentinels. You have to come here with something that helps you get drops. It is like trying to get a phantom armor. You have to kill this thing and just hope it's going to drop what you want. And then you'll have to use bonfire sites if you don't get it. There's a total of 5 of them here, so technically you can get all of them, but that is how you get the Ruined Sentinels. Next is King Vendrick. Technically this, like I said, is like the other one where we don't have his armor, but it's called the King set, and it says worn by King Vendrick. So you need to kill him and then make your way to Shrine of Amina. Now I'm going to fast forward through this so you guys don't really have to see me getting hit by magic soul arrows. Homing soul arrows is like crazy. It's an annoying level. But you want to come to the second bonfire, find this little passage, and come through here. Open up this door. There you will find the soul of the king, which you need for his weapons and stuff, and then his armor set. But this is the last one, so without further ado guys, let's go ahead and showcase these armors. I'm going in order of the merchants. First off, we have the Smelter Demon, the first boss in the Iron Keep. We got his armor from the merchant in Majula, and the weapon is received from Strait of Olafus if you trade him the Smelter Demon's soul. This armor would be one of my favorites. One of the things that annoys me is the sword goes straight through the helmet. I don't really like that, but I do love this armor. I loved it since the beginning of actually fighting him, and I wanted to get his armor. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know I like it because I even made a specific video for it. But definitely a nice armor. Next we have the Looking Glass Knight armor with his mirror shield that can reflect spells and his thorned greatsword. Pretty cool looking armor, pretty unique and, different than the rest of them. This boss is located after Drang Lake Castle when you go to King's Passage. To get the Thorned Greatsword and the Great Mirror Shield that actually doesn't even really reflect magic, or at least I've not been able to in PvP, you go to Weaponsmith Artifacts. Remember, if you don't know how to get to those type of merchants, I have 2 specific guides for them that I will put in the description below for you guys. And lastly, her armor can be purchased from the merchant in Majula. Next we have the Lost Sinners set. She is the boss in the Sinner's Rise area after the Lost Bastille. This boss is pretty annoying, especially in New Game Plus, but we have her giant Sinner's Sword as well as her Pennel set, if I'm saying that right, which I'm probably not. One thing that's pretty neat is it talks about her as a prisoner. Pretty cool lore that can be involved. I'm no lore master, otherwise I would reveal the truth about this armor set. But one thing that's cool is actually the handcuffs or the gauntlets allow your pyromancy to be increased, or the damage, and also the helmet is your equip load. Pretty cool armor set, at least for the effects that it gives you, and it's pretty cool how it talks about how she was a prisoner, but they do not know what these are actually used for anymore. This armor can be purchased from the merchant in Majula, and the Lost Sinner sword is from weaponsmith Ornifex. Next we have Velstadt of the Undead Crypt, the cursed dark magic knight of Vendrick. This armor and set in general is one of my absolute favorites. The hammer, or the Great Chime Hammer I believe it is called, can actually shoot 3 dark orbs with its big strong attack. But all in all, the armor is just absolutely one of my favorites, but if you can see, the equip load is a little bit heavier. I personally can't wear it, and I'm running a Royal Soldier's Ring +2. The boss, as I said, is located in Undead Crypt, and the merchant that sells this is in Majula. And the Sacred Chime Hammer is located at weaponsmith Ornifex. Next we have the Throne Defender set, and his greatsword is one of the best swords in the game, especially for Faith, because it already scales in lightning, which is what Faith does. And if you saw right there, I can actually power it up with lightning without even using magic or anything. If you two-hand this weapon, then press L2, it will coat it with lightning, and then it won't even let you use Sunlight Blade, because that's basically what it is doing. So, I really, if anything, recommend getting this sword. It is located at weaponsmith Ornifex, and the armor set is purchased from the merchant in Majula. Definitely worth getting. Next we have the Throne Watcher, and her sword does the same, except in magic, so pretty neat. Also check hers out. And this boss fight is located in Throne of Want, right before the last boss in the entire game. They are like the guardians of the queen, so you have to fight these guys before them. After fighting them, you can purchase both of their armors from the merchant in Majula, and their swords from weaponsmith Ornifex. Definitely look into getting their weapons. Not only do I recommend looking into the sword, but I recommend looking into the Watcher's shield. It is definitely worth a purchase or a trade of a soul if you got 2 souls for them. That is also located at weaponsmith Ornifex. Next we have the Bone Armor, or pretty much the Skeleton Lord armor from Huntsman's Copse. These 3 lords are pretty difficult, but the only weapon that you can actually get is this halberd. Well, it's called a halberd, but it doesn't actually look like it to me. But this armor is located from Titchy Grin. You can purchase it there after the Chariot boss fight, so make sure you go do that. It's actually a side boss, so you could have missed it. But go to him, join the Brotherhood of Blood Covenant for the trophy anyway, and then go ahead and pick up this armor. You can pick up the Roaring Halberd from Strait of Olithus as well if you trade the Skeleton Lord's soul. Next we have the Executioner set with the Chariot Lance and then the Shield Crossbow. Pretty neat about the Shield Crossbow, as you fire you actually block as well. Pretty neat factor. You can pick or get both of those from Strait of Olithus and trade for the Executioner's boss soul. Not one of my favorite boss fights at all, at least by myself. If I summon someone, it's not so bad. It's just kind of annoying how skeletons will spam you. But this armor can be picked up from Tichigrin as well directly after the boss fight, so you can get it as soon as you beat the boss in Huntsman's Copse. Next, we have the Dragon Rider set, one of my absolute favorites, and not only does this person have 2 weapons, it has 4, so we're going to have to go through 2 rotations. We have the Dragon Rider's Halberd, the Dragon Rider's Shield, the Dragon Rider Bow, the Dragon Rider Twin Blade. Definitely one of my favorite looking armors, if not my favorite in this entire showcase. It's just kind of heavy. I mean, not really kind of heavy. I think I'm like 120 because I'm also wielding all 4 of its weapons. The weapons can be all purchased from straight up Olafus, so you'll, have to go to New Game Plus to get this armor anyway, so you'll have 4 souls by the end anyway, so you can purchase all 4 of its weapons. And lastly, the armor can be purchased from the merchant in the Iron Keep after beating this in New Game Plus. Next, we have the Ruined Sentinel set, and so annoying to get this one. I actually ended up upgrading it for one of my builds. It's not even in the same character that I was using to get all these armors. I have it on a separate build because it was fully upgraded, and because I used a lot of New Game Plus to get this armor, because it was pretty annoying. I recommend running a prisoner set with Jester Hat and then using rusted coins to increase your drop rate. And for when you look at the stats, remember this is +5, so don't, think it's that great on its base. It is one of my favorite armors. I didn't like it at first because I didn't like the boss in general, but I ended up liking it on one of my separate character builds, and I upgraded it all the way. It is upgraded with Twinkling Titanite, and remember, you get this armor from Drain Lake Castle by farming the Ruined Sentinel's little boss inside the little castle. Last but surely not least is the King set, the King Vendrick set pretty much, with his ruler's sword. Pretty cool sword actually. I could have got 3 swords, but I only had 1 of his souls, so I'm sorry I can't show off 2 swords and then 1 shield. I got this ruler sword because it's pretty good quality build. What that is where it increases or scales in strength and dex. And also, its attack is increased by the amount of souls you have. So I guess I will be doing pretty well. I almost have 2 million on this character. But a little side note that it doesn't even show is the helmet, or the little crown, increases your intelligence and your faith both by +3. So that's a pretty cool neat factor. It doesn't say it, but it has some lore, obviously, to do it. I'm, honestly hoping Epic Name Bro or clear a lot of this up or something, because I'm not an expert at that. But that's pretty much it, guys. I followed straight the strategy guide to get all of these armors. I really wanted to get the Pursuer armor of all. I loved it. I got his sword, but you can't get his armor as far as I know. I don't see it in any of the guide. So I hope you did enjoy, though, showcasing all these armors. It did take a little while, and let me know what you want to see next. You want to see, like, all light armors, all phantom armors. I mean, it takes some time, but I can get them out to you guys. This one did take a little while, but it is here, and I hope you guys found this useful if you're trying to find all the armors or just, you know, trying to collect them for PvP builds and stuff. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment if you have any questions or send private messages. This has been United Gamer 101 here, and I'll see you guys later.